Oh, hey, George. So, hi. Look at you all. Already got five people. So, we're going to give a little time and then I'll get started. I'm excited to share my experience about PrEP and my experience with PrEP and what I've learned throughout the years of taking it. Thanks, George. If you all have any questions while I'm going through the information, feel free to jump in. Um, we'll try to answer what I can, and if not, I might refer you to a website or two. But um, this will be fun. This is cool. Oh, nice. That's a fun fact, George. So your friend's a researcher at Gilead and helped create the drug. Fun fact. Love it. All right. So I am a new employee at Whitman-Walker. I joined a few months ago as a social media influencer, hence why I'm here now discussing my experiences with PrEP, the daily pill that helps prevent HIV. Um, I'll be on live for about 30 minutes plus or minus. So feel free to stay on, leave, come back, whatever you want. But I'll be here to answer some of your questions. So, what is PrEP? So, PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis. It is a HIV prevention method which you consume daily for its effectiveness. So, there are currently two drugs that are approved for PrEP. We have Truvada and Descovy, which are both products of Gilead, the company I mentioned earlier. So, what's the difference between PrEP and PEP? I know we've heard these terms thrown around, and they can get confused because there's literally only one letter that's differentiated the two. So, what is PrEP? PrEP is again pre-exposure prophylaxis, which means that it is a method to prevent pre-exposure. PEP is post-exposure prophylaxis. So if you have or think you have been exposed to HIV, then you would take PEP. And PEP actually stands for post-exposure prophylaxis. So the way that PEP generally works is that if you have been exposed to, or you think you've been exposed, you would, within a 72-hour time frame, get in contact with a health professional, and they would administer a 28-day period drug that you would consume consecutively over 28 days, and that extremely reduces your risk of the being contracted with HIV, being infected with HIV. Hey, so there are a lot of myths about PrEP, and I know because I dealt with a lot of it when I started taking it 6 years ago. I've heard a lot of things, it'll make you sick, it'll make you fat, and for me, none of those were true. And for the community that actually takes the pill, it hasn't been true. It's a very small percentage of people who actually experience side effects from the drug. So let's go through some of these myths that I heard over the years. Hey, Roderick. So does PrEP treat HIV? The answer is no, it's not an HIV treatment method. PrEP is a prevention method. However, PrEP could be a part of an HIV treatment regimen. So it could be used in conjunction with other HIV medications for an HIV infected person. What's PrEP's efficacy? So if the pills, well, baseline, PrEP is 92. We say that PrEP is 92% effective. However, it is known that if the pill is taken 7 days a week, that it can be 99% effective. If the pill, there have been studies on this stuff. So if the pill is taking 4 days a week, it can be 96% effective. So some fun facts there. Some people I've heard things that it gets down to 80% if you take it for, 4 days a week, but it actually is 96%. So yeah, good fun fact from our partners at Whitman-Walker. Um, so what else? Back to the side effects thing, because that's a big thing. I think most people don't take, or they have fear of taking PrEP because of the side effects. So let's talk a little bit about that. So again, as I mentioned, I didn't have any side effects from taking PrEP. Most of the people that I know, friends, family members that take PrEP, have not experienced any side effects. And from studies, it shows that less than 10% of people experience side effects. So of those 10%, what did they experience? So some of the things that have been recorded was that PrEP can cause nausea, diarrhea, or headaches. And it's even mentioned that it could, be bloating may come with that. However, those side effects generally go away after, weeks of taking the medication. So that is, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, yes, not being nauseous is bad, but it really goes away in a few weeks. And only 10% of the population that is currently taking the drug has experienced those side effects. Some other, myths I heard is that, like, you may, I heard that their liver and kidney disease is a huge part of PrEP. So again, in that 10% of individuals who may have experienced these side effects, there was a small percentage of people that actually have experienced those bone density loss or kidney side effects. Some of the things that we do when you're taking the pill to monitor that is that when you decide to get on PrEP, you go to your medical provider and they draw your blood every 3 months. And they actually check your kidney, liver, bone density functions, and all that stuff to make sure that the pill isn't negatively impacting you. So that if it is, that you can make the decision with the consultation of your medical provider to stay on the pill or not. Again, PrEP is a personal decision, but I find it to be a good personal decision. How does one get started? So PrEP is not really that hard to get started taking PrEP. When I decided, I literally met with some of my friends who I knew had, taken the drug just to get their take on it. But it is most important to talk to your medical provider. That is the deciding factor. The conversation between your medical provider and yourself is really what should be your consideration on taking the pill. So when I decided to take the pill, I met with my medical provider here at Whitman-Walker, and we went over the side effects, what my daily routine would look like being on the medication, and address any concerns I may have. It's a really transparent discussion that you have with your provider. You may even talk about some of your sexual practices and how that may come into play while taking PrEP. So, what's the cost? That is always the biggest concern I have heard when starting PrEP. So, I'm sorry, Roger has gastrointestinal issues with taking the pill at night and consider having some food in your stomach. That's actually a very good recommendation, Roderick. I've actually, from my personal experience, I originally started taking that night because had fear that it would make me nauseous. It actually didn't happen. And I've now switched to taking the pill in the morning, like right after or right before I brush my teeth. I'm a very routine person, so that's the way I do it. But if it is giving you those side effects, eating it with food, taking it at night before bed may help alleviate some of those issues. So good addition to the conversation, Roderick. Thank you. But back to the cost. Most insurance plans actually cover PrEP. I know that I have Blue Cross Blue Shield and I pay a $10 copay. I also have, there's a Gilead, the makers of Truvada and Descovy, actually has a copay supplement that actually works with people who are insured or not insured. So if you cannot afford insurance or you don't have insurance, Gilead will actually supplement that. And then trust me, I've lost jobs and I have not had insurance at times. And I've been able to be on PrEP for 6 years. So it's not really too expensive. There are a lot of resources out there to, help. Speaking of resources, Whitman-Walker has an insurance helpline. The number is actually 202-745-6151. Here in DC, they have PrEP navigators that can help you get insurance, whether it's public assistance or whatever that may look like for you. But there are people there that actually help navigate that issue. When I did have, a loss of job, I was able to call my medical provider. They linked me with a PrEP navigator, and I got on public assistance. It was a lot of process at the time that actually worked out for me so that I didn't have to stop taking PrEP. Yes, JJ, find a retailer that works for you. Any more questions? All right, so yeah, cost is not a big factor. If you are concerned about the cost, I would, again, encourage you to call that number I just mentioned at Whitman-Walker, and they could help you navigate that space. But again, there's so many resources out here for that. What else? I have some notes here, so don't judge me for flipping over the paper. All right, so do I have to take the pill for the rest of my life? Quick answer is no. Better answer is have a discussion with your medical provider. If you are on PrEP and you think you want to stop taking it, it is a process to get off, right? You have to make sure that you're HIV negative, and you have to just make sure everything is in place. So you want to do that with the advice of your medical provider. But no, you don't have to be on PrEP for the rest of your life. I've even seen, friends of mine take it for a few months and couldn't get in the routine because they were not a daily pill type of person and decided to get off. I've also seen people who have entered monogamous relationships and felt that they no longer needed to take PrEP because they trusted their partner enough to not take it. Again, that is a personal decision. And again, this is another space where I would encourage you to talk to your medical provider before actually stopping your PrEP regimen. All right. Do I have to take the pill if my partner is undetectable? That is a good question. And it's very interesting and personal to me because I actually dated an HIV positive person who was undetectable. And I decided to continue to take PrEP because of my own reasons. But if your partner is undetectable, there's no specific need to take PrEP. Reason being that a person who has an undetectable viral load basically has no risk of transmitting HIV during anal sexual intercourse or vaginal. However, again, that's a personal choice. If you decide to get off of PrEP with your undetectable partner, it's your choice. There's no judgment there. But people still choose to stay on it. All right. Any questions? No. So, and fun facts about PrEP. So I actually have a pamphlet here that I want to show you all. So I thought this is cool. I don't know if it shows reverse on my screen, but I'm hoping you all can see this. So it says an HIV exposure is a medical emergency, and you should immediately consult a doctor, and you can go to the ER and get PrEP. You can go to the ER if you feel that you've been exposed to HIV. You can go to the ER and request PrEP, which again is post-exposure prophylaxis. And, you'll start that 28-day regimen to help reduce the risk of you becoming HIV positive. Or you can come to Whitman-Walker and get PrEP. So there are many resources. Again, personal choice, but I'm going to encourage you to come to Whitman-Walker. More fun facts here. There's actually some cool resources. So there's a website called PrEP for DC. You can see it here at the bottom. That will be a cool place to check out if you are interested in learning a little bit more about PrEP. And there's a lot of FAQs and things on that site that you could discover. So I encourage you to check it out. Let's see. Oh, this is a really good one. So does PrEP prevent STIs? Point blank period, no. We actually encourage people who take PrEP to continue using condoms and other safe sex methods that work for them. So it's not a substitute for STIs. It's not designed that way. But, it is definitely a good tool to reducing your risk for HIV infection. Thumbs up to you too, Mag, the historian. All right, so again, if you're interested in getting PrEP, you can go to the site I just mentioned, or if you have questions about how to pay for PrEP, you can go to whitmanwalker.org or call the number here, 202-745-6151, and they will help you navigate that PrEP experience for you. So, one other thing I would like to mention. That's a good question, Danny. So yeah, I actually just mentioned that. So yes. Oh my God, you all have so many questions. I'm so excited that you're engaging me. Yay. So let's start from Mr. Intentional. Mr. Chisholm, thank you. That wasn't a question. It was just a fun fact about myself. Thank you. Can women get PrEP? Yes, women can get PrEP. Actually, we also encourage women to take PrEP because women can also be exposed to HIV. So you should definitely talk to a medical provider. If you are a woman and you're interested in taking PrEP, you can get PrEP. I would encourage you to ask about the options between Truvada and Descovy because Truvada has been approved and is been proven as effective for treatment prevention method for women. Descovy hasn't yet. So talk to your medical provider about that. And can I get PrEP from places outside of the ER? So yes, you can come to Whitman-Walker to get PrEP. There, again, there's multiple options, but Whitman-Walker is definitely a place where you can get PrEP if you think you've been exposed. All right. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other places. Oh, you can also get PrEP from urgent care. So if you have a local urgent care, 24-hour care facility that you can get to, they can also provide PrEP to you. So I think that's good for that. One thing I'd like to mention, it's actually something I'm extremely excited about. One thing I don't talk about is that I'm also on the community advisory board at Whitman-Walker. So I have that social media influencer hat, and I'm also on the community advisory board. And on that community advisory board, we basically review a lot of the new studies, HIV prevention studies that are coming up. And so one of the ones I want to talk a little bit about is one of the newest and most exciting for me, at least, is the one called Mosaic. So that's Mosaico, Mosaico. So Mosaic is a new HIV vaccine research study. So this is different from a prevention method. So there's currently a study about actually a vaccine, which is called Mosaic. Good question. Jumping back to PrEP. Risk without taking PrEP daily. So we talked a little bit about that in the beginning. So we encourage PrEP to be taken every single day, 7 days a week. If you take it 7 days a week, it is known to be 99% effective. And if you take it, let's say 4 days a week, it can be 96% effective. So for it to be most effective, we encourage you to take it daily. I know it's hard to do that, but protect yourself, take it daily. It's the most simple way to put it. So back to Mosaico. So, we already have, PrEP, which is pre-exposure prophylaxis, and now we have PEP, which is post-exposure prophylaxis. But Mosaico, this new study is testing a vaccine. So a vaccine that should prevent HIV infection. And so a little bit about the study. The study is sponsored by between a few companies. So you have Janssen Vaccines and Prevention, NIH, the National Institute of Health, is involved, and the HIV Vaccine Trials Network. So these three groups are basically funding this study. So the study is open to all people who are interested in HIV prevention and are not HIV positive. So if you're interested in it, but if you're interested in it, you're not HIV positive, then you can participate in the study. So there are approximately 55 sites in the U.S. That will be participating in the study. 55 in the U.S., South America, and in Europe that will be participating in the study. So the study here in D.C. will be conducted at Whitman-Walker at our 14th Street location. So that address is 1525 14th Street Northwest. If you're interested, you can literally go there and ask someone in research, or you can email research@whitmanwalker.org and ask about the Mosaico study. So the vaccine, some facts about the vaccine here. So the vaccine is not made from a live or killed HIV, and it cannot cause infection. So that's one key factor I think I should let you all know. And it is paid. So if you are interested in it, you will be paid to participate in this study, which is good. And they'll also reimburse for a lot of expenses that may come into play when participating in the story. And any questions about Mosaico? I definitely encourage you all to visit Whitman-Walker. So that's Whitman-Walker, whitman-walker.org/HIV research. You can find more information there about Mosaico. I'm super excited about this particular study because we do not have an HIV vaccine in the market now. So this can really, really change the environment we live in, and it's exciting to have something, potentially something that is effective and more effective in HIV prevention. So this is good. All right. Yeah. All right. No more questions. Just scrolling through to see. Want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think so. 1 second. All right. So definitely encourage everybody to visit Whitman-Walker's website again. And if you're interested in PrEP, come talk to our team. You can call 202-939-7690. There are more information there. It's kind of blurry. But if you're interested in getting some of these pamphlets, come visit us at Whitman-Walker. We have all the stuff you need here about PrEP, PEP, if that's something that you're interested in. But most importantly, like, we have the resources to help you get started on your PrEP regimen. And if you've been exposed or think you've been exposed, please give us a call, come down, visit us. We have our 14th Street location, and we also have our Anacostia location that you could get assistance. So I think that's it for me. Gonna close out. To start PrEP, how old do you have to be? It's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. So can someone get, so I definitely think that that conversation should happen with the medical provider. If you are underage and you're interested in PrEP, I would encourage the conversation to happen with an adult and your medical provider, and take that from there. Any other questions? Yeah. So we definitely think anybody who's sexually active, whether they're over 18, hey, Cloudy, thanks for asking that question. That's a great question. If you're sexually active, over 18, under 18, we think the conversation should happen with your provider. So if you want PrEP to be an option, that's literally the first step, is to talk to your provider. Are there locations outside of DC? If you go to, so Truvada actually has a website as well, and you can go to Truvada.com, and there's a lot of information there about providers. I've seen it myself. So if you're looking for a clinic or a medical provider that is providing PrEP resources, I would definitely encourage to visit the Truvada website or Gilead's website. But great question. Thanks, Kyle. Glad you joined. Yeah. So my Whitman-Walker team is also chiming in for those of you who might be underage. You can also give us a call and we'll help navigate that with you. All right. All right, well, this was fun. I'm so happy I was able to share my experience, talk about my 6-year experience on being PrEP, but also share the resources that I use myself here at Whitman-Walker as an employee, and before I was an employee, I came here for PrEP. So continue to follow me on Instagram. I will be continuing to post information about PrEP, all that stuff, but also additional Whitman-Walker resources that you may find useful. So thank you for joining our live. I appreciate you all, and adios.